I never expected betrayal to come from my own parents. Especially not over something I worked my entire adult life for. At just 27, I'd managed to buy a modest but beautiful house worth $320,000, every penny saved through years of hard work, skipped vacations, double shifts, and living below my means. It was more than just a home to me. It was my safe space. My pride. I thought my parents were proud too. They were there when I signed the papers, celebrated with me during the housewarming, and even told extended family how responsible and ahead of her age I was. I believed them. That was, until I came home one evening and found my younger sister, Daniela, sitting in my living room, legs crossed, sipping iced coffee like she owned the place. I moved in, she smiled. Mom and Dad said it's okay. I thought she was joking. But then I saw boxes, her boxes, everywhere. Clothes in my closet. Makeup on my bathroom sink. My bedroom. Taken over. Furious, I called my parents. That phone call would change everything. When I called my parents, I expected shock or at least confusion. But what I got instead was cold entitlement. Yes, honey, my mom said calmly. We told Daniela she could stay there. She's been going through a lot lately. Her breakup, the stress, you know how sensitive she is. She's staying in my house. I snapped. You didn't even ask me. My dad chimed in then. It's just a house, sweetheart. And you have no kids. No husband. It's not like you need all that space. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My house. My savings. My name on the deed. And yet somehow, because I was single and quiet and independent, they thought it was theirs to redistribute. Daniela had always been the golden child, spoiled, reckless, and used to being rescued. Meanwhile, I'd always been the responsible one, the fixer. But this time, they'd crossed a line. You can't just give away someone's home. I yelled. You're being dramatic, my mother said. You should be happy to help your sister. That night, I drove back to my house. My house. And I saw her, my sister, hosting friends, laughing in the backyard like she'd lived there forever. I sat in my car, watching from a distance. And that's when I knew. If they were going to treat me like I didn't own anything, I'd make sure none of us did. The next few days were a blur of frustration. I tried to reach out to my parents, but their response was always the same. It's just a house, they'd say, brushing off my concerns like I was overreacting. Every time I tried to explain why it mattered, they would shift the conversation to how hard Daniela was struggling. How she needed the space, the support, the break. But what about me? I'd worked so hard for this. I was the one who sacrificed, who lived within my means, who fought for everything I had. I didn't need a handout from anyone, especially not from the people who were supposed to be on my side. After several tense conversations, I stopped fighting. My parents weren't going to change their minds. They saw the house as a mere possession, something easily given away when someone needed it more. They didn't understand that it wasn't just about the house, it was about respect. It was about my hard work, my dreams. So I made a decision. If they didn't care about what I had built, then neither would I. I stopped paying the mortgage. I let the bank take the house. The feeling was surreal, almost liberating. The bank sent me notices, but I didn't care. I ignored their calls, their letters, their demands. Daniela was still living there, of course, completely unaware of what was coming. She didn't see the financial disaster looming over her head because my parents had never been transparent with her about the situation. I took everything that mattered, photos, personal documents, anything that felt like me, and left. I didn't pack a thing for her. I wasn't going to make it easy. And then came the letter, the final foreclosure notice. The bank was taking possession of the house in 30 days. It didn't take long for things to fall apart. Daniela was the first to call, of course. Her voice was frantic, filled with panic. "Why did you stop paying the mortgage?" she demanded. "Mom and Dad said they didn't know anything about this. I don't even know what's happening, Eliza. They're saying the bank is going to take the house." I tried to keep my tone calm. "Daniela, I warned you. I told you I wasn't okay with what was happening. This is my house, my responsibility, and my decision. You can't just let them take it," she screamed. "You're going to ruin everything. I have nowhere to go." I could hear the desperation in her voice, but at that point, I was beyond caring. "You had a place to go when I was kicked out of my own home, remember?" I shot back, the anger finally slipping through. "You don't get to play the victim when it was me who got screwed over in the first place." There was silence on the other end for a moment. Then Daniela's voice cracked. "I didn't ask for this. I didn't want to take your house. I didn't know they'd give it to me." It was clear she didn't understand the full picture. She was just a pawn in this game, one that had been handed a privilege she hadn't earned. I was angry, but I couldn't keep fighting her. It wasn't her fault. The next day, I got a call from my parents. Their tone was cold and defensive. "What is this, Eliza?" my mom asked. "Why would you let it come to this? Why would you destroy everything?" "Destroy everything?" I repeated, incredulous. "You gave away my house without even asking. You didn't think this would have consequences. We were just trying to help Daniela. She needs stability right now. Why can't you understand that?" It was the same excuse over and over. It wasn't about Daniela. It was about the fact that they never respected my efforts, my struggles, my needs. They didn't even see me anymore. I didn't want to keep fighting them. I was done. The day the bank came to take the house was the day I walked away for good. As I saw the foreclosure sign go up, I felt no relief, no victory, just a heavy emptiness in my chest. I had lost everything I thought mattered. But the truth was, I had already been losing it all for a long time. After the foreclosure, I moved into a small apartment. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I'd never felt so alone in my life. My parents didn't reach out, and neither did Daniela. I didn't hear from either of them for weeks. I kept to myself, focusing on getting back on my feet. I took on a few freelance projects to fill the gap. I wasn't going to ask for help, I was too proud for that. But every day, as I walked into my tiny apartment, I could feel the weight of everything I'd lost. The house. My family. My trust in them. One evening, as I sat scrolling through old photos of the house, my house, I got a message from Daniela. "I'm sorry, Eliza," it read. I didn't know what was happening. "I thought Mom and Dad were helping you, too. I didn't want any of this." I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to tell her how wrong she was. But then, part of me understood. Daniela wasn't the enemy, she was just caught in the web of lies my parents had woven. I replied, keeping it simple. "It's not your fault. It's over now." A week later, I got a call from my mom. The tone was different. She wasn't defensive this time. She sounded tired. "Eliza, we need to talk," she said. "I want to apologize. We were wrong. We should have respected you. Your father and we didn't realize how much it would hurt you." For a moment, I was stunned. I hadn't expected an apology, certainly not from my parents, who had always been so sure of their decisions. But hearing her admit they were wrong hit harder than I thought it would. I'm sorry, too, I said quietly. But I couldn't keep being the one to fix everything. I needed you to see me. I needed you to respect me. There was silence on the other end of the line before she spoke again. We're coming to see you next weekend. To make things right. Will you let us? I didn't answer right away. Part of me wanted to hang up and never speak to them again. But another part, small, fragile, wanted to heal, to at least try. I'll think about it, I said. I couldn't promise anything, but I knew one thing for sure, my life had changed. I wasn't the same girl who once worked herself to exhaustion to make everyone happy. I wasn't the girl who let others take credit for what she built. I was stronger. And I was finally, truly, ready to move on. The weekend my parents arrived, I had no idea what to expect. Part of me still resented them for what they'd done. They'd crossed a line that couldn't easily be erased. But another part of me couldn't deny that the idea of family, of having some kind of reconciliation, was tempting. They showed up at my apartment with flowers in hand, and an apology that felt awkward but sincere. We sat in silence for a long time after they arrived, none of us quite knowing what to say next. Finally, my mom spoke, her voice soft. We were selfish, Eliza. We were blind to your needs, and we took advantage of your strength. I wish I could take it all back. My dad, usually so proud and stiff, seemed to shrink in his chair. We never meant to hurt you. We just didn't understand. We're sorry. It was hard to listen to their apologies. It was hard to hear them admit they'd been wrong after years of insisting they were always right. But in that moment, I saw something new in their eyes, genuine regret, not just for the house but for how they'd treated me over the years. I know, I said quietly. But the house wasn't just a house to me. It was my dream, and you took that away from me. They nodded, taking in my words. I could feel the weight of the years of hurt, but there was also something else, an understanding. A real shift had happened. Over the next few months, we started talking more, rebuilding something I didn't think was possible. Daniela, too, reached out again. She didn't have all the answers, but she apologized, and we slowly began to repair the bond that had been fractured. As for me, I kept pushing forward. I knew my journey wasn't over. The house was gone, but I was stronger than ever. I had learned the hardest lesson of all: sometimes, you have to let go of what you thought you needed in order to build something better. The bank took the house, but I took back my life. And that was worth far more than any property.